We've seen that love is long-suffering, love is kind, it's not jealous, it doesn't brag about itself, and it's also not puffed up. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 4 gives us a definition of love. Love is long-suffering, love is kind, love is not jealous, love does not brag, is not puffed up. Now, the concept of being puffed up is typically viewed as a person who is conceited. They have and are really showing an excessively high opinion of themselves. As an example to the saints in Corinth, Paul actually used himself and Apollos as an example so that they would learn not to be puffed up among themselves. Now the things, brethren, I have figuratively transferred to myself and Apollos for your sake, that you may learn in us not to think beyond what is written, that none of you may be puffed up against the other. 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 6. We are not to let our freedom, our knowledge, and our understanding, especially in relation to false idols, puff us up, for we actually followed these before God saved us. And hopefully as Christians, we're starting to reject these things. Now you may say, well, I never actually followed a false idol. I never bowed down to a statue made of stone and wood, and perhaps even think that those who do this type of thing are ignorant and simpletons for ever even thinking of bowing down to something that they carved. But have you ever coveted what another person has? Therefore put to death your members which are on the earth, fornication, uncleanliness, passions, wrong desires, and covetousness, which is idolatry. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 5. Yes, it is true that idols are nothing, but we should not let our knowledge of that puff us up against those who are struggling with them. 1 Corinthians 8:1. Now concerning things offered to idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffs up, love edifies, seeking the best for the one loved. Now remember, in this case, what's going to happen is you're not going to use your freedom to cause another brother to stumble. Along with that, we should not be ones who allow those who follow idolatry to actually persuade us by using false humility and the worship of angels, while intruding into things that are not seen and being vainly puffed up in their fleshly minds to persuade us to follow them. Colossians chapter 2 and verse 18. Let no one cheat you while desirously willing in humility and worship of angels, intruding into things which he has not seen, vainly puffed up from his fleshly mind. Where do we see these kinds of things in the churches today? Well, it's those people who speak about demons and casting out demons and understanding them, claiming an authority that actually Scripture never gives us. These are also the ones that talk about spiritual warfare of angels and teach that prayer has some way of influencing the outcome of good and evil. Not scriptural. Those who speak of the deep things of Satan and talk about understanding them. Those who teach that we should have what God has given to other people, that is actually covetousness. And this does directly come from those who are in the prosperity gospel. Name it and claim it. If God gave it to them, he has to give it to you. That is completely false. All of these ones doing this are vainly puffed up in their fleshly mind about things that they don't see and don't actually understand. Let's not let them persuade us into idolatry or persuade us to be puffed up in our minds or about ourselves in things we don't actually understand. Love has no need to make itself appear bigger than it really is. Even the smallest act of love is of more value than anything that we can do out from our flesh. Therefore, let's let love just simply be love.